I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Hello and welcome back to the SVU After Show here on AfterBuzz TV. We are talking season 21, episode 14. I deserved some lovin' too.
Yeah, you do.
I do. I'm Yael Siegel. I'm joined by Taylor Yates.
Hey.
Hello.
Do I deserve some loving too?
You deserve some loving
Thank
too.
you.
We all deserve a little loving. I think it's the perfect weekend for that as well. I want to give some shout outs before we jump in. I see we have a lot of people chatting already. Lizette, Mo, and Zach, thanks for joining us in our live chat. That's right, we are live every Sunday currently at 5 p.m. Pacific time, usually at 3 Pacific time. Yep.
Well, it's fine.
It moves.
We're on Sundays
We're
usually,
on Sundays.
so that's all you need to know, okay?
And what you really need to know, if you need it, the RAIN hotline, it is 1-800-656-4673, 1-800-656-4673. Actually, this week I was watching something, and my DVR is set to record a minute before, and whatever I was watching ended with please call the RAIN hotline if you need it. And I was like, I know that phone number. I say it every week.
Don't even worry. I don't even need it.
I need it. I got it. All right. Welcome. Let us also tell you sometimes episodes go very dark, and when they do, we tend to go light, and that is how we cope with it and deal with it and dissect it. So please consider this your content warning before we dive in. And I feel like this episode we may say some offensive things.
Potential.
Maybe.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see how the cards fall.
Yeah. What did you think of this episode?
I thought it had its moments.
Okay.
I don't think it was like my favorite episode of the entire season or anything, but I didn't like hate it either. I thought it was like a fine, good episode. I always like it when we have some undercover, operations going on. So I'm glad that we had that. And I think that it picked up towards the end. Like I was like, during the beginning, I was like, okay. And then at the end, I was like, okay, this is like, I'm liking it more at the end here.
I agree. This was a good episode. It wasn't a bad episode. I liked... It was two different storylines, and I sometimes hate when we have two different storylines. So it started with the subway groping,
right? Which I was interested in.
I kind of wish we would have dealt more with that.
Yeah, because we saw all like the women, like we saw all of our people and other people. Like I thought that was really interesting, and I think that it was like kind of odd that we went in this direction from that.
Yeah, it really bummed me out that we didn't go on with that. But we do get this other storyline, which I ended up loving, and I'm going to say it. The thing that really won me over is Sergeant Khaldoun, played by Ariel Stachel, who spoke Hebrew and spoke Hebrew well, and I have translations for all of you because they chose not to put subtitles.
Yeah.
And so him being an Israeli actor, I believe he is Israeli, and I really loved that. That was like what won me over, and I love this.
Yeah, that was cool.
So let's talk about the episode. We start with Benson going to meet the team. I really need to mention this mail scene because it was weird.
What was the...
What was that?
It was weird. Just like that.
Just like the mail, which did not come back into play.
Yeah, I also was like...
Thank you.
Sorry. I was like, oh, this guy's like doing something with the case. Like he's gonna do it. Like, no, he was just giving her mail.
Yeah, I definitely thought that the mail was going to come into play. Like that whatever case they were going after, somebody had sent her something.
Right.
That then was like a clue, and it literally never came back.
Yeah, it was very bizarre. They
I don't
just needed
know.
to fill like 15 seconds. They're like, well, mail scene, I guess.
So weird.
So weird.
Usually when they need to fill 15 seconds, they put Noah on screen or mention Noah.
I hope that we get this explained. I was like, what is happening?
Yeah, it better come into play.
Yeah, who is this
I have
guy?
a lot of notes about it. Anyway, so we jump into the subway groping. We have a chase. He smashes his phone. He's caught. There's a riot. That's all my notes say, because as interesting as it was, it didn't come into play to the rest of the case.
Yeah. I love that they're chasing this guy, and the subway guy is just playing the drum the whole time. I thought that was just like so good. Like because we kept looking at him. I was like, why?
I really loved that he was smart enough. Like I like a good villain, a smart villain, to like change his outfit while he's running from them. So smart. I was like, they're gonna lose him? So silly.
Yeah.
But they caught him, which was incredible. the guy we caught is Dwayne Varick. He works in the citizenship office. Benson wants a warrant, but instead of talking to Homeland Security, we go straight to his boss. I want to give a shout out to Jeremy Bobb, who played O'Toole. Jeremy Bobb, you may recall, you remember him from Lessons Learned, season 14, episode 8, which is the case where an all-boys school for many years had been sexually assaulting students. He was one of the students, I believe. And I remembered him from Mask, which is season 12, episode 13, which is the Jeremy Irons case, where he works with Jeremy Irons in his sex addict clinic, and then he rapes Jeremy Irons' daughter.
Yeah. He's a good repeat offender.
Jeremy Irons' character was named Cap.
Yeah.
For some reason.
That was a good episode. Those are both good episodes, actually.
Yes, great episode. So welcome back, Jeremy Bobb.
Thanks for coming back. Thanks for returning.
Yeah. So they investigate marriages and make sure they're legit. So Benson's like, you're an investigator. Why don't you check out his stuff? And if you think there's something there, or if you don't think there's something there, we'll walk away. Interesting. I think that's such a smart way
I did too.
To get around the warrant.
I kind of thought that he was going to be like in cahoots with Dwayne and like delete all the stuff.
Oh, interesting.
I was like, I think this is going to backfire, but it didn't.
Yeah, I also was surprised that he didn't either.
Yeah, he just
more.
Completely threw him under the bus. And I was like, okay. Well,
they both threw each other under the bus.
Yeah, there's no loyalty there.
I'm actually surprised. It felt like they could have, like, even if Varick wasn't guilty, O'Toole could have just, like, loaded up stuff.
That's what I was thinking, too. I was like, I don't know how legit this is, but that's fine.
This seems, because, like...
Seems a bit unethical, but...
Yeah. Also, like, chain of custody, guys.
Right.
If we recall, that's how Stucky screwed up, was chain of custody.
Classic.
Yeah.
Oh, Stucky.
So anyway, he's been posting upskirts on his federal computer, which is a felony. Varick decides to hand over O'Toole instead. He's been holding green cards in exchange for sex because apparently the best cure for blue balls is a green card. Yeah, people were talking about it in the chat. As awful as that is, great line.
I was like, well, this feels like a very, like, season 1 through 12 line. Like, it just feels very, like, there are just some classic lines that are terrible. Like, the banana one, you know what I'm talking about? Like, why would he sodomize her husband with a banana or something? Yeah. Like, that's what this feels like. A very, like, we should not be laughing, but, like, what a line.
To be fair, that one, I believe he was allergic to bananas.
Yeah, he was.
And that's how she killed him.
Yes, but, like, that line, like, just out of context is incredible.
I think one of my favorite lines was from it was in a promo for an episode, and it was, it's hard to shoot yourself in the back.
Do you know what episode that is?
I have no memory.
Oh, I love that so much.
I don't even remember it in the context of the scene. I remember it in the promo.
That's so funny.
Oh, so great. All right, so we meet our first victim, Lena Vasquez Boyd. O'Toole interviewed her 3 times outside the office, and she had to. She won't testify, though. Then we find out that he's looking for attractive women, looks for discrepancies in age, race, and religion. We learn that he interviews couples together in the office, and then the women have to go alone to his van.
Yeah. That's not like suspect at all.
Right.
What?
We meet our second victim, Rosa Me Klein.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
She runs away. I think that was so funny.
I'll go get her. And I was like, she is not going to get anybody.
Right. I was like, it reminds me, there's an old episode where they go to talk to somebody and they're like, oh, he's not here. And then they find out later that that's who he was.
Yeah.
And I remember Cragen yelling at them for not looking up the photo first.
Yeah.
So every time this happens, I go, Cragen told us that you look up a photo first.
Come on, guys.
So anyway, they're like, we're here about O'Toole. She goes, no, he didn't touch me. What?
Okay, well,
that's not suspicious.
A little bit, okay.
No, he didn't touch me. I didn't ask.
Yeah.
Now I'm concerned.
Now we know that he did.
Yes. We meet the third victim, her name is Maggie.
I'm obsessed with her.
Are you?
Yeah, she's hilarious. Just her whole story. I was like, where's my spin-off show of this? Like,
she said she'd rather put the tailpipe in her mouth.
Yeah.
And to be fair, later on when we reveal why she's getting married, I guess, it makes a lot more sense as to why she said no.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Like, I loved her and her fiance.
Husband. They're married.
Oh, yeah.
You have to be married before you can apply.
Oh, gotcha. Sorry.
So no one's willing to testify. Benson points out, what if we brought in our own victims?
Oh.
So they do a green card honey trap with Amanda and Khaldoun. They have that practice session with Carisi.
Obsessed, but like don't really need Carisi's attitude.
Yeah, let's discuss it. Well, we'll discuss it some more later, but let's talk about this whole Carisi situation that it feels like is being forced upon us.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel? Like it's being forced upon us?
Yes. I'm just not here for like I just see them as good friends. Like I have never felt like romantic chemistry between them.
Mm-hmm.
I really haven't. And yeah, well, okay, we'll talk about it more at the end.
But I definitely feel like if it were to later be explained that his jealousy, because it's clear that that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
That his jealousy is that he misses being her partner. I'd understand that, right? Like
Yeah.
she blew up because he abandoned her. He is gonna blow up because he misses being her partner. I understand that.
But you know that's not what they're trying to do.
I'm giving them an out.
Okay, fair.
I can't. First of all, stop having, and I'm saying it now, even though it's against how I feel about other things. Stop having Rollins date coworkers.
Yeah.
Stop making this a repetitive thing, a cycle that she can't get out of. And give Carisi a love interest. If you don't want him to be with Barba for some reason, then give him a love interest outside of our precinct.
Yeah. Yeah.
We
I
shipped him
agree.
with Kat really, really early on, and I think that's never going to happen with how much they hate each other right now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, enemies to lovers is a trope.
I know. I don't like it.
Yeah, I don't know.
I
don't
the word
feel
overused trope.
Yeah. But I like it's one that I maybe don't mind very much. Okay.
Anyway.
But in that case, I wouldn't be here for it. I don't think.
They'd have to really rebuild that relationship.
Yeah. It just doesn't feel right to me.
Yeah.
I don't know.
All right. So we go in for the green card interrogation. Khaldoun says we got to dinners and nightclubs and she drinks, but he doesn't. He says, I fell in love with Mandy as she is. I don't want or expect her to change.
The fact that it's Mandy. This like when when Kat said her name was Kitty.
Yes.
They always just changed their name a little bit.
I 100% believe that if Rollins was in a long-term relationship with someone, at some point he would refer to her as Mandy.
Really?
Yes.
I don't see her as a Mandy.
I don't either, but I think that I could see it being just that person calls her that.
Maybe, yeah. I have to say I really liked the interview scene too, because it reminded me of one of my favorite movies, The Proposal.
Yes.
Sandra Bullock and Ryan Reynolds in there.
Yes.
I just always like those scenes because because it's scary too, because you're like, what if they say something that like contradicts itself?
Right. I really do like but what he said. I don't want or expect her to change. I fell in love with the woman she is. I think that's so beautiful.
I do too. That's why I'm saying like maybe I'm here for it.
I'm here for Khaldoun and me, but that's a different question.
Valid too.
As we know, I like to ship myself with people on the show. So Rollins, in her interview, she's like, I like burgers. He likes falafel. And on Valentine's Day, we're going to stay home and deliver from 2 places. And she does the cutest little nose wrinkle.
It's so cute.
As this undercover, she's adorable.
Yeah.
Because usually I feel like she's playing a like sexy version of herself.
Yeah.
Or like in one that we will discuss later in the poll, she definitely like plays like a bad version of herself.
Yeah, for sure.
Like a addict version of herself.
Yeah.
Anyway, I really liked this cute version. Her nose wrinkle was really cute.
Yeah.
I was losing it. So O'Toole points out that she always pays. She makes more than him. She's a few years older. These are red flags.
Which, LOL, I didn't really read a big age gap between them. Did you?
I didn't, but I think that on paper there is one.
Yeah, I agree. But like when I was just watching them, I was like, oh yeah, they're probably like the same age.
Well, I think we don't realize that Kelly Giddish has been on the show for
I know, that's the thing. I always think that she's still like 32.
Right, like first season.
Yeah.
No,
because she hasn't aged really. Like she
I
still
know.
looks so good.
Yeah. Is she in her 40s now?
I think so.
Yeah, so I think that he's
I guess that's fair. I'm just like, oh yeah, like they're both in like their early 30s probably.
right. Yeah. No, she grew up. He didn't. So these are red flags. O'Toole says they need to meet again, and that she can't tell her husband. She meets him in the van, Where are we going? Nah, we're just gonna sit here.
Yeah, I immediately see a pillow. I'm like, okay, what?
He says, I want you to be relaxed. I'm gonna be honest. If a man invites me to his car,
His van.
His van.
It's a van. That's so sketchy.
yeah, but it's like a minivan.
But it's still a van. Like, you never, like, hear someone just, like, oh, just come to my van. Like, that is what they tell you not to do when you're, like, 6.
These dun-duns are perfectly timed.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm, like, ranting about this.
Yeah, and then his whole thing, like, you know, where I wanted you out of the office so it feels more relaxed. No, I feel very tense in your
Can
van,
we go
sir.
to a coffee shop? Like, why are we in your van at, like, 10 p.m.?
I need to be in a public place, and I'm gonna text
Coffee
people.
shop, 3 p.m. That makes sense.
So anyway, he has intimate questions to ask. Okay. And then he asks how often they have sex. And she's responding. And
He's
I
a
feel
very
like,
passionate man.
I'm sorry, not part of the conversation, like not your business.
Yeah, I don't know what they're allowed to ask.
I don't think they are allowed to ask about sex.
They shouldn't be, I would say.
I don't think they are. So he says, I have something you need. You have something I want.
That was another good line, I will have to say.
What?
You have something. I have something you need. You have something I want.
Okay.
I don't know. I thought it was good. I wrote it down.
He wants her to make love to him 2 to 3 more times. That also seems odd.
Yeah.
In like at most 3 times. What? Wait, why?
Yeah, it's like not even an indefinite. Okay.
That's weird.
Yeah, it is. The whole thing was weird. We know that.
She says, so you're saying I have to sleep with you? And he says, I'm saying that I deserve some loving too. I don't know if you all remember the Chads and Stacey's episode.
Oh my gosh.
You know who also says, I deserve some loving too?
A Chad. No, not a Chad.
An incel.
Yeah, sorry, the opposite of a Chad.
An incel. Yeah.
Exactly.
This guy essentially is an incel.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Finn says that they're going to give that fool some love, though.
She asks when. He's like, here, now there's a mattress in the back. Thankfully, the squad moves in. And then we have the return of Buchanan.
Oh yes.
I love to hate Buchanan.
Same. He's like such a fun villain.
He is so fun because he's such a good lawyer.
Yeah, he really is. We'll discuss.
So he explains that his client investigates green cards. This was a fake marriage. Everything was a test. He tried to figure out how far she would go. He would have busted her if she was willing to sleep with him. So now they need to find a victim that he did sleep with. And we go to Rosamie. She says no. Maggie says yes if her husband can be safe and she can get a U visa. Do you remember when we first learned about U visas?
No.
It is an episode with Cabot. It is after she went into witness protection and came back.
Yeah.
It is the episode with the very annoying neighbor who's very needy, who gets stabbed in the hand.
And she dies.
And dies.
Yeah.
And then the other woman from the Congo who was raped. That's where we learned about U visas.
That's such a good episode, actually.
Yeah.
And she's like, I'm going to go back and change everything.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yep. That's where we learned about those.
Classic.
Then we meet Patrick, who's Maggie's husband, because they came for her phone, and he's gay.
They're both gay.
I love it.
Me too. I was like, more of this. Like
Lena,
they're just scamming their way into the country.
I love it.
I kind of do too.
So Lena's not willing to testify. She's afraid of her husband. Benson tells her she doesn't have to stay with him, that she can have a U visa. They're just handing out U visas to everybody.
Pass them out.
I love it. And then she decides, somehow, magically, in this conversation, she goes, I can't live like this anymore. I'll testify.
Yeah, I was like, okay, well,
Yeah.
I'm glad for you.
Carisi's really worried about the case. Maggie's marriage turns out was a lie because they're both gay, which again makes so much more sense as to why. Not that she should have said yes, but like it adds to why she was like no.
Absolutely not.
Yeah. Rosamie won't testify, but Lena's willing. Carisi's still worried about her. Varick testifies, says O'Toole wanted women who were young, attractive, diverse, and desperate. He called it his Baskin-Robbins file.
One in every flavor.
Yep. That is what he called it.
I'm sure Baskin Robbins is like, do not use my name in this episode. The CEO of Baskin Robbins just calls up Warren like, excuse me?
I really hope Baskin Robbins sends an email being like, do not ever do that again.
Or like tweets it out, be like, we do not condone this.
Everyone should ask Baskin Robbins.
Just at them, be like, so Baskin Robbins, what
How
do
do
you have to
you
say
feel?
for yourself? Yeah.
So good. Audrey in the chat says that the Nigerian woman who says she sees rape everywhere is one of her faves. That's the episode.
Yeah, it's such a good episode.
I do see rape everywhere. All right. So
Good.
Buchanan points out that Varick's probably retaliating. He's known for years but didn't say anything until he had to save himself. Oh, Buchanan's so good.
Yeah.
All right. Khaldoun's on the stand. Buchanan's like, you lied to a fellow officer about your marriage, religion, every detail of your life.
And then I and everyone else is like, yes, that's what it's called. Being undercover is.
Yeah, but also, and I really wanted Carissa to object and be like, not a fellow officer.
Yeah. Like, okay.
Because Buchanan continues to place, and I think, O'Toole also sees himself that way, as equal to the police.
Right. Now.
And he's not.
You ain't.
All right, so he's like, I was undercover. It was a fake marriage. Maybe my client figured it out. He's like, nah, he thought it was real. And the red flags gave him leverage to sexually extort Rollins.
Love how confident he's like, no, I'm pretty sure he thought it was real. Like,
Yes.
I love how he's just so confident about it.
I love him.
He's wonderful.
So you're a good enough liar to train a tricked investigator? Yes.
Yeah. Sorry
That's my
about ya.
job.
Yeah.
Rollins says, O'Toole told me that I had to meet him alone. And Buchanan asks, you didn't sleep with him? He never assaulted you. And she's like, his intent was clear.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't it possible that he was testing you? You were playing a role. Isn't it possible that he was too?
Anything is possible.
I mean, yeah.
I thought this was like kind of dumb though. I was like, there is a mattress in the back of his van at night. Like,
He had to make it look real.
yeah, but like this is such a weird setting. Like, it just doesn't even feel like the jury would believe that. I really don't. Like, and plus, how would that be legal of him to do that?
It's not.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't know. I was like, I don't buy this at all. And I don't think the jury's buying it either.
So Carisi's like, it's okay. We are laying the groundwork. Lena will testify and his case will fall apart, which is a really good point that, like, agreed. Up until this point, we're going, did he believe them or was it a test?
Yeah.
Did he do it? And then you bring a woman that he slept with and gave a green card to, and like the
Yeah.
whole thing falls apart. But Lena shows up and she's preggo.
Okay.
Whatever.
Fine, I guess.
Great. Carisi asks for a continuance. He gets till the morning. Rollins and Khaldoun decide to talk to Rosamy and the Hubs. Jew to Jew.
I was like, please say the line.
Oh, because you weren't going to say Jew to Jew?
Jew to Jew. I just thought that you would like that line in particular.
I mean, I think my favorite part is Rollins going, what?
Jew to Jew.
Because he's Jewish on his mother's side and Muslim on his father's. Then they open the door, and for those who don't speak Hebrew, what Khaldoun says is, we need to talk, brother.
Oh.
The brother could be translated to bro, but it's we need to talk.
We need to talk.
So Rosamy and Rollins talk. Rosamy's like, how many other women? Rollins like, at least 2, but probably dozens more.
Yeah.
It seems that Klein, I don't know, what's his first name? Do you know? Rosamy's husband?
I don't know.
Klein
Yep.
was a wedding pianist. She was a catering waitress. She laughed at his dopey stories.
This was so sweet.
I really like this couple.
I do too. And he was just so nice, and she was so, they're so nice together.
She converted for him and is the woman of his dreams. And then Klein says in Hebrew, what do you want? And Khaldoun says nothing. You tell stories. I'm here to tell you a story. A sad love story about a man who has a beautiful home, a beautiful family, a beautiful wife who loved him so much she had to do a terrible thing to save their love. And then Klein says...
He knows.
He knew. He said, is this a story also about a man named O'Toole?
I kind of love that he knew.
I like that he knew. I kind of wish he would have told her that he knew.
Yeah.
So that, you know what I mean? Like, we went in this huge circle, which could have been averted.
Yeah, that's true. But I feel like this was something that happened like a long time ago, and like it obviously messed her up, but they kind of didn't want to ever broach the subject again. But it's always kind of been in the back of his mind. That's how I'm at least like viewing it.
So Rosemary comes forward. Buchanan requests time to prepare. Creasy's like, talk to your client. He tells Benson he's gonna fold, and she says,
make it hurt.
Yeah.
I also love, where'd you pull these two? Back your client's van. I was like, whoa, there were some real zingers in that scene. Carisi was just like,
yeah. Well, so then Buchanan goes to Carisi's office, which like we do see all those other people in the office. Okay. He says, show compassion for your fellow officer.
No.
He's not. First of all, Carisi's not an officer anymore.
Right.
And second of all, O'Toole is definitely not an officer.
Did you notice how Buchanan was like, detective?
Yes.
I was like, shut up.
He's so rude.
So rude.
So he says, I'm just doing my job and serving my country.
By dipping your wick?
I loved it.
What a weird line. I loved it too.
Have you never heard this phrase?
No.
Oh, it is a very common phrase.
Dipping your wick.
I assumed you hadn't because you're a child.
Sorry.
So, if they really loved their husband, they wouldn't sleep with me. But when they said no, you'd lock them up. So he says, you can lie to yourself all you want, but you raped these women. And then O'Toole goes on this rant of how he's like, I'm holding the line and securing the borders. They're taking our jobs. Sir, you sound like a bigot who should not be in immigration.
Shut up.
You should not be in this position.
Unfortunately, though, probably pretty true to life.
Yeah, but shouldn't these people be tested before they can get their job?
Yeah, but guess what? That does not happen. Like,
he's like, they're taking our jobs and bleeding the system. Girl!
Yeah, you're going to be in jail bleeding the system.
Yeah. So then Carisi blows up and yells at him, which I appreciated. But again, Carisi, you're in your office surrounded by people. Take this outside or into a room.
Let's rumble.
Anyway, he says, these people are coming for the American dream, but you gave them a nightmare.
Boom.
So they make a deal. Carisi's talking to Benson. He's like, this is all Rollins. She got Rosemary to testify. Apparently, Rollins told Benson that it was all Khaldoun's office. Ooh. He did it all in Hebrew, mensch to mensch, which is Yiddish. I'm just pointing it out. Mensch is a Yiddish word.
It's Hebrew.
No.
I'm just kidding.
Mensch is very Yiddish. Anyway. And then Carisi's all upset and jealous again.
Yeah, he was.
All right. So then we have this chat with Rollins and Khaldoun where he tells us that he's a Middle Eastern American. Post 9/11, he was ashamed to admit that he was part Muslim, and he passed for black in Brooklyn, which, if you recall, in the early parts when we were arresting Varick, he says to him, when Khaldoun says, why did you run? He goes, my father taught me. Yeah. And he says it, I think he calls him brother. Mm-hmm. So I guess Varick also thought he was black. Yeah. And then we see Rosemary, and apparently they're doing better now. And that's the episode.
Yes.
Anything I missed as we sped through it?
No, but I have some stuff from predictions that is like pulled from that last conversation.
Go on.
We'll say that for predictions.
All right, fine. I know that we have a lot of people chatting in the chat, and I appreciate all of that so much. I'm going to give some more shout outs to people who are with us. Audrey-O is here. Audrey-O also loves a smart villain going back to Varick in the subway. Alice Jones is also here. Kristen is here. Been following the after show for seasons. First time live. Welcome, Kristen. Peyton is here. Peyton says, I want more scenes with Hasim, that is Khaldoun, and Rollins together since they would be great friends. She should have a shoulder to lean on. That's right. She needs a new friend now that her friend abandoned her for the DA's office. Zach, who we shouted out earlier, says Delaney Williams is a cool guy, but when he's on SVU's Buchanan, I seethe with anger. Yeah. I agree. I will say Delaney Williams is such a sweetheart on Twitter, and I love to hate Buchanan.
That's the thing. Like, if you're going to play someone so mean, like, you're usually a pretty cool person, I feel like.
Yeah.
Because you just have to be to, like, get to that place. You have to be able to get out of it.
Mo says, I don't know what part of Brooklyn he'd pass for black. I think that's very funny. I love it. Thank you all so much for joining us in the chat.
20 people? Wow.
We love that you're all here.
Almost one for every season.
Aw, cute. Yeah. So we do a weekly poll.
We do.
What was last week's poll?
So last week's poll, well, just to refresh your memory, last week we talked about Redemption in Her Corner, which is the boxing episode with Kat. Such a good episode. Mm-hmm. So we asked you guys what your favorite boxer episode was. In fourth place, we have Pop, season 12, episode 11.
Oh, that's the one with Drea Di Matteo and the Fight Club with the little boys.
It got last place. That's fine. It was a great episode still. We actually have a tie for second place. We have Fight, which is season 9, episode 8, and Intent, season 19, episode 8.
Intent is the best one!
I knew they would pick this one, though. Our winner, Redemption in Her Corner, with a whopping 61.9% of the votes.
Wow.
It was a very good episode.
It was a great episode, but Intent has the monster and the Instagram star and the girl whose her screen name was Blimpy.
Yeah.
And she says, I gotta clean out mama's poop bag.
Yeah, and Barbara's like, you have how many followers? 6. Like, he's so savage. So yes, that was last week's poll. This week's poll, we are doing favorite Rollins Undercover episode, which I literally thought of 2 more besides this. While we were talking about this, but if you have one that's not listed, just comment below. We only have 4 slots on here.
What were the 2 that you thought of?
I thought of the one where it was like this season where she goes undercover with the professor and she has her little glasses on and he's like giving everyone gas or whatever.
The machine elves.
Yes, machine elves.
Oh, there's also the one with the drug addict center where she goes with the doctor.
She's the receptionist person.
Yes.
That was the other one I thought of.
Okay.
So those are 2 more. If you guys like those, comment below. But the ones that we have listed, Father Dearest, season 13, episode 20. That's the one with James Vanderbeek.
Oh, that's the one where the girls think they're sleeping with their biological father and they're not. They're sleeping with James Vanderbeek.
It's so wild. And it has 0% of the votes right now, which is just wrong. Someone better vote for that. It's such a good episode.
It was on the yesterday, I believe. It's so good.
So solid. We have Gambler's Fallacy, season 15, episode 17. Love this episode so much.
That is the one where Rollins is gambling and then gets caught by Declan Murphy. It's the introduction of Declan Murphy, and she ends up working for him undercover.
And Sherry Song from The Fosters is there.
Yes, pregnant.
Very pregnant. Yeah. God, that was so crazy. I love it so much. We have Starstruck Victim, season 17, episode 16.
Which one, sorry?
Starstruck Victim.
Oh, Starstruck Victim. This one is another Buchanan episode. It's the one where Baby Dodds and Dodds are friends with this actor who, him and his... Noel Panko, his assistant who owns the bar or manages the bar that he owns, rape the vlogger. And then Rollins goes undercover at the end and has a video camera. And Buchanan is like, is this what new moms are wearing these days?
Yeah.
And they can't do anything with it. And then Baby Dodds releases the video.
Yes. It's a pretty good episode, too. And then, of course, we have this one. What was your favorite out of those?
I don't know. I like them all so much.
I think that mine is, I love Father Dearest, but I just love Gambler's Fallacy. And I also think that one will win because it's just such a crowd pleaser because Declan Murphy's there.
But so Gambler's Fallacy, for those that don't remember, the way we got the undercover portion of it is Rollins and Benson go undercover as a couple to the fertility clinic. Right?
Yeah,
that's
Father Dearest.
What is that? That's what I meant.
That's Father Dearest.
The James Vanderbeek episode.
Yes, I think that Gambler's Fallacy will win.
Oh yes.
Oh,
I just thought of another one when she went undercover with Cassidy, where it's Amaro's son. When we learn about Amaro's new son, and Amaro goes undercover with Munch, and Cassidy and Rollins go undercover to the guy who's dealing drugs, and they have to it's a
I
whole
only
thing.
Vaguely remember that.
Oh my god, it's a whole thing. You all know what I'm talking about. And they all switch off, and then he has the bullets, and she's his girl.
Oh yeah.
In the pizza place. Oh,
so solid. God, there's so many. Rollins undercover is just a recipe for a good episode.
I mean, so is Benson undercover.
Yeah. But Rollins just has some really good ones. And yeah, especially Father Dearest. I forgot they go undercover as the couple.
Yes.
And I was pretty here for it.
It's because they claim that like their cousin used a donor, and so they wanted to use
like,
the same.
We want this one. Like, she's so smart and so bright. Like, can we have the same
And like, it
one?
happens all the time.
Yeah, and then they're like, oh, we ran out of that a couple years ago.
Zach says Gambler's Fallacy is in the lead.
Yeah.
Peyton says, I like
be.
Father's Dearest episode because it was pretty good. Yeah, and it was
Agreed.
on the other day.
So good. All of these are actually really good. But
Oh, and I've seen all of them recently.
Yes.
Next week, here's what's happening. Let's hit up the prediction thing. There it is.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV
Predictions.
predictions.
Next week, it doesn't have any voiceover, so I can't do any of it in the voiceover.
you can still do it.
Okay, fine, but these were all lines that people said. Assaulted by a colleague. She's been robbing the company blind. Comes to SVU as a victim, and now she's accused of embezzlement. She's manipulating the whole situation.
You know what this reminds me of? You know what
Yes.
episode?
Which one?
Bully with Luscious Grapes. The most iconic. Like, it's like objectively like probably one of the worst episodes, but I love it.
I think it's a great
The
episode.
Panda Flash Drive. Like, it's just so many like iconic moments in that episode.
I almost text you every time it's on.
I love Bully.
Bully and Babes, I almost text you every time.
Oh, they're so classic. But that's really what this reminded me of. And if it's half as good as that, I'm going to be very pleased.
Well, you said you had some predictions.
I do. Okay, so in that little diner scene at the end, we had Rollins and Khaldoun. Chit-chatting. Rollins mentions Kim a lot. And I know for a fact that Homegirl is coming back this season.
You do know?
I do know. I read a synopsis and she was in it. And so I have a feeling that Rollins and Khaldoun are going to keep getting closer and Kim is going to come and mess that up.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
a good prediction.
I mean, we've planted the seeds in this episode, and from what I know, I just really can see that happening, because when does Kim come back and, like, not cause a major issue?
yeah, but she's supposed to be doing better now.
Well, she's not. We know that. I'm so sorry. I don't think she's capable of change. That's so dark, but it's just...
But she's medicated now.
We'll see.
Okay.
We'll see.
If she comes back, I hope it is for a positive. I hope that Khaldoun joins the team, honestly.
Yeah.
I want him to, as Carisi said, he's a cave cop. I think
Yeah.
he should leave the subway and join SVU.
Yeah.
I would love that. I do not want Rollins to continue to have relationships with her colleagues.
Here's the thing, though. The last time she had a relationship with a not colleague also was trash.
Yes.
So, like, maybe
Also
she
correct.
shouldn't date. Listen, if they're going to make her date someone, I would rather be Khaldoun than Carisi, because I feel more there than I do there, you know?
I agree, but I would like her not to date a coworker.
What if, like, it happens, like, next year after they get to know each other better?
Fine.
Because they're not, like, coworkers.
Right. Sure. I'll allow it.
Okay, good. Because I like it.
I will also say that I want the Carisi and Rollins thing to be that, you know, he misses working with her.
Yeah.
And nothing more.
I would love that,
Introduce a love interest for him, or admit that he and Barba are together. Mm-hmm. That is what I want.
Set it
one or the other.
straight. Set the record straight.
Set the record straight, not them.
Not Carisi.
I'm loving this. Taylor, where can everyone find you and the poll before
Yes.
next week, where we return at 5 p.m.?
You guys can find me on Twitter at alphabet_Ann and on Instagram at Taylor_Case_.
And the poll is on your Twitter.
It is.
Yes.
It is indeed.
I'm Yell Teagle. I'm everywhere at Yell Teagle. That's YAELTYGIEL. I had a lot of fun this week. I cannot wait to discuss the next episode. We'll be back on Sundays at 5 p.m. Pacific time. I don't know what time that is where you live. Google it.
Time zones.
Time zones.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.